Díomh is mise Vicky Flanagan, fáilte rah chuig seisiún thachráilte éire, tá go mbeidh le chéile ar lína gach muí, chun ceangal a chothú leis an talann bheanithe de Éireann. Hello, my name is Vicky Flanagan and welcome to Sacred Sessions Ireland, where we gather online each month to connect to the sacred land of Ireland. I'm not a fluent Irish speaker, so if anyone is, that introduction may be a little bit off, but I try my best to speak where I can, words in Oscailge. So welcome. So today we are going to take an energetic journey and explore the majestic land of Glendalough, which is located in County Wicklow. And County Wicklow is called the Garden of Ireland. So you can imagine Wicklow is so beautiful to be known as the Garden of Ireland. It's just, when you go to Wicklow, you're just immersed in beauty. And Glendalough, in my opinion, is like the jewel of that. It's the place where everyone, like tourists, locals, everyone comes to Glendalough. So for Sacred Sessions Ireland, I call myself a bridge. As an energy worker, I visit sacred sites and I attune and tap into the energies of the sites beneath the earth and within the sites, and I create these meditations to bridge people with those energies. What I've come to find is that the land, these sacred sites have their own purpose. They have their own, full spectrum of emotions and consciousness, hopes and dreams, just like we do. And they're made up of different energies to allow them to fulfill their purpose. So when we go to these sacred sites, whether we kind of engage or ask, a lot of these really powerful sites like Glendalough, like Newgrange, Lough Crew, those energies are going to work their magic or their purpose regardless. And some people will kind of come back from like a tour of Newgrange and be like really blissed out and like have all this new energy and be like, God, it's so weird. It just makes me feel so happy when I'm there. Or if you're in the Hill of Tara and you feel really giddy and playful and you're like, God, it's so strange. I just always feel like that when I'm there. And even when I was in the Hill of Tara, one of the first times I visited when I moved back home to Ireland last year, I brought my grandmother who's 81, and she was running up and down the fairy hills, literally running. I've never seen her run before, even though she's a fit woman, she was running up and down and laughing. And I thought, it's no coincidence that this is happening, it's all in the unseen. And same for Lough Crew. You go to Lough Crew, it's this overwhelming like heart expansion. You might find yourself crying and feeling loved and thinking of your grandmother. It's that unconditional energy. And it's whether we ask the vortex, it's going to do its magic anyway. It's going to fulfill its purpose and we receive that healing. And then for people who can't visit the sacred sites or just kind of want to tap into that energy wherever they are in the world, even if they're in Ireland, but you can't make those sacred sites every day, this is one way of energetically connecting to the energies, right? So everything is energy, it's all energy. And that's kind of what we're here to do today. So I'll get to Glendalough, but first I just kind of wanted to just explain what it is that like my role is in this. And I will share my intuitive reads and my assessment of the different places, and in this case Glendalough. But I give everybody full permission to let go of any information that doesn't resonate with you. I would even say don't hang on to any of it. You have full permission to let your inner wisdom and your truth guide this session, because as I bridge our group with these energies, you get to experience them for yourself and you get to make up your own mind. So I'm going to share my truth, but your truth gets to be at the center always. I don't have a map for this work. So for me, this work has been an intuitively led process. So I don't have an idea of the different sacred sites that I'm going to visit at any one time. I go where I'm called to go. Each one feels like an initiation, especially the really, really big energies. So that takes a lot of courage to surrender. to just be intuitively led whenever you're called. So for me, that's been a massive process to be able to always surrender into the unknown, to stop placing what I feel is best or what I think I know on energies that are so much vaster than me, or that I'll ever even be able to comprehend. Even me telling you that this is the purpose limits the earth and the land. So my idea of what the purpose is one way we can engage. For us, that's practical in our lives in 2022. So it's that kind of remembering that as we kind of surrender into this, we need to have that curiosity. Curiosity is what will bring you out of the worry and the anxiety and the fear. When we're curious, it kind of leads to the next step and the next step, and we open, continuously open. So for me, curiosity is a gift, and not a lot of people actually give themselves permission to be curious, but it is a skill. So that's what I'm doing. I'm curious when it comes to the land of Ireland, the earth. I'm curious to the other world, as we call it, in lots of traditions, and in Irish tradition as well. The other world is like beneath the earth. And for some reason, my journey has led me there. So I'm excited to see where it leads me continuing. And I'm grateful for people that are interested in being on this journey with me. I am very curious as to why our ancestors built these kind of massive monuments like Newgrange and the dolmens and stone circles. And a lot of these exist now, like way before the pyramids. You know, these are like 5,000-year-old monuments. No one will ever know. No one can say for sure why these sacred sites were built. We can speculate and say, oh, they're for burial or ceremony. And you know, I like to my speculation is maybe our ancestors or the people at the time, maybe they were able to tune in, or because they were so devoted to nature and so in tune with nature. Don't forget, at the time, even in Celtic times, we worked off a Celtic calendar, which showed that, you know, we know time is not linear, but in our modern world, we live as though time is linear. But even in our Celtic ancestors will say the Celtic wheel, which is the calendar, showed all the different seasons. So showing that growth and that time is actually circular. And we'll even see on some of the monuments, there'll be like swirls as the megalithic art. So obviously I'm naturally curious to wonder, did our ancestors feel into these energies? Were they attuned to these energies? We can see it all through Irish mythology. And, you know, what's been really exciting for me is I've been going to places without researching them, right? Without doing a Google search, and just trusting, follow my curiosity. And then based on my own intuitive read I have first, then I'll go and research. And a lot of the time, Irish mythology validates in some sense of the energies that I'm picking up on, these big archetypal energies. And then also vortex energies, which I will go into a little bit of detail about, but I wonder if they're depicted in that megalithic art as well. And if these are places where our ancestors marked these sacred sites so that we could be in reverence to something, be in reverence to the land. Obviously now we're living in a time where we have othered ourselves from the land. We've othered ourselves from nature, even from one another. We forgot what it means to be in reverence and what it means to be in relationship to sacredness. And that includes with ourselves as well. Because when we practice holding reverence for these sacred sites, that practice will ripple out into your life. And you'll actually practice that in your relationships and then with yourself. So for sure, it helps with a sense of bringing in a sense of belonging, a sense of place, a sense of self, and more, you know, as we work to unlock these places in the land of Ireland, these big vast energies, we're unlocking them within ourselves as well. So each one feels like an initiation. So back to Glendalough. So I visited Glendalough loads of times in my life. It is just a stunning place. I would call it majestic. You can find deer and stag and like mountain goats here. I've seen just really beautiful, like that majestic animals there, and just a beautiful energy. So whether people go for hiking or like a forest trail, or just kind of walking around the monastic village that's there near the lakes, there's this peaceful energy. It's, yeah, tourists it's a big spot for tourists, of course. And I think it's really easy for us humans when we're out in nature, especially somewhere as like beautiful as Glendalough. We tend to think, you know, when we come home, we tend to think like, oh, I feel great after that. And we kind of, our brain maybe can't rationalize what happened. Maybe we're not attuned to what's unseen. So we put it down to like, of course I had it. Like, of course I feel good. It's like fresh air. I got some exercise. I was in nature. That's why I feel so good. And it's, well, can we go beyond that? Even when we look at the landscape of Glendalough, it's known as the valley of two lakes. So there's, the mountains rise all around you, and the views are just like immense, right? And I have a few pictures, but it never does it quite justice, but I will share a couple of pictures because it's always nice to have those as images as well. Um, but I'm sure people have had this feeling at any kind of mountaintop where as the mountains rise, and like before you or around you, it's very humbling. Like you feel really small and kind of like almost like insignificant, or whatever you're worried about feels insignificant. And at the exact same time, you feel a part of everything. It's that majesty, and it's that feeling of like awe. And in my opinion, that viewpoint at Glendalough, it offers us that gift of clarity, because we get to see the bigger picture. It kind of takes us out of whatever narrative is going on in the smallness of what we're working with, right? And it helps us to kind of see the bigger picture, to rise above the insignificance, and also just kind of see the bigger picture, and remember that you're so much bigger than what's going on. You're so much vaster than that. You are everything. And at the same time, we're humbled by this as well. So it's not to kind of build our egos, it's actually to humble us and bring us back to the earth. So with this perspective, when we're hiking through, nature, or walking through the forest trails, whatever it might be, we can hold reverence for ourselves and for nature and whatever it is that's unseen. With regards to what's unseen, what's happening here, and hopefully people have a better idea at the end of this session, what's happening here is we're actually receiving a healing on all levels, mind, body, soul, and essence, who we are on a spiritual level. And in this case with Glendalough, even in our angelic self. So for me, I always felt great after visiting Glendalough. Again, put it down to, oh, it's just so beautiful, and like the hike's amazing. And it wasn't until, which is funny because I even did that like not so long ago, only a few months ago, that I last thought that about Glendalough. And you know what? Actually, I will share pictures before I forget. Okay. So here's one picture of my hike. Very beautiful. It was last autumn. There's one. Here's a really nice one. This is the one that I have on the website. So a friend of mine took this picture and sent it to me. That's the monastic village there. And then I will explain this, but this is called St. Kevin's Bed. So it's a cave here in Glendalough. And there I am on the hike.
Vicky, we're not seeing the monastic village and the other photo. We're just seeing my photo, or the lake.
Okay, yeah. Thanks for letting me know. Okay, I will get it up. So here is, can you see that one? Yeah. So there we go. There's the monastic village from afar. I'm gonna have to stop sharing and share again. And this one is the St. Kevin's bed. So this is the cave in Glendalough. And it's actually a Bronze Age tomb, but we know it today as like St. Kevin's bed. And I'll explain a little bit about him as well. So that's just to give people an idea of like the beauty of Glendalough, and you can definitely Google photos as well. Let me just click out these pictures. So yeah, so a friend of mine, Mela, who was just speaking, lives, her back garden is basically Glendalough, you know. So Mela asked me to check out this sacred place in a part of her garden. And you know, she was saying that she found like stag antlers, and like deer would kind of go there to feed their babies and like just kind of chill out there, and it's just so beautiful. So when I went to visit this space, I had a lot of reads, and I thought it was really interesting the way the forest, we'll say, around this sacred site kind of was circular, like trees bent to protect this area, and to it's just interesting how the nature itself became a protector, a guardian for this space. And I said to Mela, I said, let me talk to my teacher, because I'd love to get his read on this space. And when I was talking to my teacher, who many people know, who was Kenneth Hover, so Ken was the one that was able to first see and feel into the vortex, the energies beneath the earth here at Glendalough. And I was a bit sad because I couldn't feel into those energies. So I said, oh, I can't seem to see it. Like, why can't I see it? So Ken was able to work with me to be able to open different gifts so that I could then start to sense and feel this energy. And don't forget, this is after like over a year of doing this work and like working with different sacred sites and seeing so clearly. And all of a sudden I couldn't even see the energy beneath the earth here. So as I was able to tap into it, I kind of left it there, and the energy, the way Ken spoke about the energy, he called it a hub for the country of Ireland. So if we imagine I can't even imagine how big this vortex would be. It would probably be the size of Glendalough, and it's deep beneath the earth, and it's, I always see them in color, and everyone is totally appropriate to see whatever color comes up for you. But for me, Glendalough is that purity, it's that white, really bright white. And it's the hub. So it's kind of like this underground network of sorts where all the energies kind of are connected to Glendalough, so it's the hub. So I think it was many weeks later where I got the intuitive call from Glendalough that it was time to work with Glendalough. So I was beyond excited. I felt kind of that excitement and almost that nervousness of what's going to happen. I just knew this is going to be big, like an initiation, waiting for that call. Again, I'm very feminine when it comes to this work. I don't force anything. I just let it happen whenever it's my time. I trust the timing of it, and I definitely don't want to unlock or open something I'm not ready for. So as I said, for anyone that felt called here today, whether it's because you felt really already connected to Glendalough, you felt connected to like the idea of connecting to a sacred site or vortexes, whether it was the theme of clarity or to work with angelic energy, or you just showed up and you don't even know why, trust the call and trust that you're here because you're ready for this big upgrade, I would call it. And then if there's anyone that's like, what the hell is a vortex? I'm definitely going to explain that. I think vortex always sounds like very far out and like kind of a very cool word. But before I've opened to these kind of subtle energies within the earth, I don't even know if I really believed what a vortex was, or really, I didn't have a belief system of a vortex. And the best thing is you don't have to believe in anything. Again, it's about being curious and just seeing what you're ready to open to, because it's about developing our capacities to relate to the subtle energies of nature, or like the mysticism of nature. So a vortex is more of like a collection of energies, or like a pool of energies. And in my experience, these energies kind of, they do move, like all energy moves and vibrates, but I see it as like a swirl, like a clockwise motion. The energies are always swirling. And then at different speeds and at different frequencies, depending on what the energies are made up of, or what their purpose is. So I do believe that there are vortexes that are above like land. I've never experienced any. And there's a lot in the Irish seas and lakes as well. So mostly they're deep within the earth, and they're full spectrum of energies. And they have their own emotions, they have their own consciousness, hopes and dreams, and they have their own purpose. So most vortexes are made up of earth energies and universal energies. And they also have, depending on what their makeup is, they're going to have soul and essence fragments. So that doesn't mean that they have a soul, but it means that they can interact and relate to beings that have a soul. So us. It also, we've also worked with vortex that had elements. So Ballymacdermot Cortum up in Northern Ireland, that was earth and universal energies, those soul fragments, and it was also made up of the fire element. And that was one of the first that we met that had so much elemental energy in it. And then Glendalough, I want to say Glendalough is special, but they're all special. But Glendalough is not like anything we've ever experienced in these sacred sessions. So Glendalough is incredibly vast. It's the largest vortex that we'll probably experience here in Ireland, and so far, and it lives deep within the earth in Glendalough, and it's made up those earth and universal energies, and those soul and essence fragments. So that means that it knows us really well on a soul level. It has access to like our soul blueprint and our plan for this lifetime, but it also honors us and knows us deeply on a human level, which is really important, because it means that when we collaborate with these really deeply powerful and vast energies, we're not frying our system. We're receiving activations, upgrades, healings, whatever breakthroughs that we're ready for. So that our soul has says yes to in this moment in time. And that's part of our soul blueprint, and also what our human body can handle and we can integrate in our aura now. So I love it because it's super feminine. It's the feminine way, it's earth. Earth is that feminine energy. It's about going with the flow. It's gentle, it's powerful, but it's gentle. And Glendalough is also made up of crystalline energies and fragments that are vibrating at an angelic frequency. And again, doesn't mean that Glendalough is an angel. Rather, it means that it's able to collaborate with beings that have angelic energies, or angels, right? So all those energies make up Glendalough. And again, working with Glendalough, again, I'm going to really like reduce its purpose to the gift of clarity. And it's this really big, vast purpose that when we activate, when we receive these activations and we get the lessons and the learnings and open our gifts, it will the ripple effect it'll have in each of our lives is going to be completely unique and different, and something that we can't even comprehend, right? But the purpose, for the sake of this session, in my opinion, is it gives us that gift of clarity. There's also land guardians. So when we visit sacred sites, there's going to be different beings that are there that live there on the land, that protect the land or like play there. So these, depending on where I've visited, the land guardians have been different. Most of the time they're more dense energies, where they're spiritual guardians that have bodies or are bodied. Okay, so I usually bring, like really nice, like alcohol. I bring some sacred tobacco. And then for the other energies that are there, whether it is Davis, elementals, like that fairy energy, or it depends on the type of guardian that's there. Like a celestial being, I'll probably bring like rock crystals, or I'll bring some honey, or something shiny. There's so many different, I like to bring sacred well water or crystals from different places to the sites. So what you gift will probably depend on where you visit. And when I went to visit Glendalough recently, I brought some gifts, and I just kind of brought the tobacco and some organic alcohol, and I also brought a really beautiful feather, white feather, and then angelite stone crystal. And I was kind of, and I brought some sacred well water as well with me as my gift. And I kind of realized, and I noticed that the tobacco and the the alcohol wasn't as well received as it is in other places that I visited. And that's because a lot of the land guardians here are vibrating on what I would imagine is like the seventh dimension, or the realm. So there's lots of angels, celestial beings, crystalline energies that are here and that are protecting and living in this space at Glendalough. So I was so glad that I brought my angel eye crystal, and I brought the feather and the water. And we can also offer energetic gifts. It doesn't always have to be physical, and we're going to practice that today. We're going to practice offering Glendalough really beautiful energetic gifts. A gift can also, or an offering can also come in the form of a commitment as well, so we can make a commitment to the land. So I did mention a bit of monastic village. So like a lot of tours you can actually tour the remains of a monastic city, and it's from the 6th century. It was founded by one of Ireland's most famous saints, which is Saint Kevin, and he's the patron saint of Dublin and Glendalough. So since medieval times, pilgrims from all over the world have followed in the footsteps of Saint Kevin, moving through the hills of Wicklow and the Sacred Valley, and you can still take this pilgrimage today. But Saint Kevin, once he was ordained, he went to live at Glendalough. And there's a legend that says that it was an angel that led him to a cave in Glendalough. And that's what we call today is Saint Kevin's bed. So he went barefoot, he ate off the land, whatever herbs were there, and nettles, like whatever plants that came to hand. And he wore skins apparently. And he just spent his time in prayer as a hermit. And apparently he loved animals, and there's loads and loads of stories, like lots of stories that speak of the miracles that he was able to perform. And as I was researching St. Kevin, a lot of this information is so rooted in Catholicism and like all the like Catholic websites that I thought, some of them are interesting, some of the stories, and then some of them are like quite sexist. And I don't really want to spend too much time on history here. If it was mythology, I would, but you're more than welcome to Google St. Kevin. Some things that I found interesting was, being a hermit is obviously very lonely life, and apparently he felt like he was never alone because nature was his company, and the trees and the branches would sing to him and like play sweet music for him. So I suppose when you hear of monks, especially, the old kind of the first Christian monks, and then even if we think of like Tibetan monks and monks that sit on top of mountains and they meditate, and a lot of the time they're probably going into that state where they have these really big mystical experiences. So I don't not believe that. I don't think that that's necessary for us now. I think we're living in a time now where a lot of people are having these massive awakenings and becoming highly sensitive. So, which can feel really scary in the society that we're living in at the moment. It doesn't support sensitivity. It doesn't support the true nature of our being. I actually don't think it's that far out now to think that like we could hear the sweet music of a tree, that we could be comforted by the branches. I don't even think that's a really hippie thing to say anymore. I think we're just so numb to it most of the time because we're so full of other kind of crap, basically, other people's energies. numbing ourselves, whether it's physically with food or, you know, drink and drugs, or we're doing it through not just addiction, but we're actually just not listening to our own intuition, our own beliefs. We're just so full of other people's that we're detaching from our own authenticity. And it's when we connect into who we truly are, and we connect into our most authentic self, that's when this whole world opens up to us. It wasn't until I trained, like I have been a Reiki master practitioner for years, but it wasn't until I trained in transformative energy work and, you know, worked with Ken, that all of these, I'd say, gifts opened up. And it was like a whole new world opened up to me. And it wasn't just all of a sudden I have these gifts and now this world is opening up to me. This world, you know, the subtle energies that are in nature have always existed. It just took me becoming as authentic as I can to be able to open to them. You know, I often say that I needed to heal, not so that I could learn to love the land that I'm from in Ireland. I needed to heal so that I could let the love of the land in and I could receive it. So most of the time it's not that, again, it's just that opening. When we're able to open to these energies, that's when we can receive them and actually experience them. And there's lots of other examples of St. Kevin's miracles and stuff, but we don't have time to go into them. He spent 7 years in the cave apparently, and then he wandered out into the valley, and then disciples started to show up and kind of made him the spiritual leader, and that led to this monastery and then a monastic city as well. So the remains are still there, and it's from the 6th century, which is pretty cool. So the purpose of Glendalough offers us the gift of clarity. And I'm very interested if anybody wants to share. You can write in the chat what is clarity, what we deem clarity as. Even if it is seeing clearly, what parts of your life, or what would your concept be of what is clarity? So if anyone wants to start typing in ideas. Yasmin, clarity is truth. Yep. Like grounded, being able to see the truth. Yes. Clarity of purpose, direction, authenticity, where you get to rest, alignment. Yeah. Clarity for me is connection to my higher self and hearing its guidance. Out of the games, individual. So yeah, clarity is something that we all want. I think it's something that I've always saw in so many different areas of my life. But I would agree that for me, like, clarity was seeing clearly, not just seeing myself clearly, but seeing the path clearly. So I think I confused as well clarity with guarantees. You know, that like all of a sudden that the path will open up and I'll be able to see so clearly. When I worked with Glendalough, what I noticed in the clarity that's being offered here is it's not about just seeing the light. Clarity is not about just what is the light. It's about, or like, it's not about sifting through the darkness or the shadowness or the heaviness to get to something that's better or good. Clarity is our ability to see and relate to what is true, which means it's about seeing everything. It's about seeing the whole picture. It's not about seeing only the light. We must have the dark and the light together. We must have both. My biggest fear that came up when I was working with Glendalough, because the reason we're seeking this clarity is our permission to have this clarity is lower than we need it to be. So our job first is to increase our permission to be able to relate to truth or to receive clarity. So, I encourage you to kind of don't get too heady about it, but to allow the fears of what's preventing you from receiving clarity. Just allow them to percolate, to come up. When I worked with Glendalough, my biggest fear was, for some reason, my fear was if I had the clarity, then I was going to see too much darkness. Sometimes it's easier to kind of pretend the darkness doesn't exist, the shadow doesn't exist. I was actually afraid that it would turn on, it would enhance my psychic abilities, that I would start seeing like demons and like dark entities everywhere I went. And kind of all these kind of fears came up, and Glendalough's response was kind of like, it's not about, like, don't be afraid of what you can see. It's what you can't see or unwilling to see is better, that we should be more afraid of. Because actually, the truth is, I do engage with entities. I do work with dark energies all the time, especially in sessions, especially when I'm working with the land. And I'm not afraid of it when I am, but I feel like I'm in control of it because I decide when I see it. It's like when we can turn our TVs off, but it doesn't stop all the madness that's happening in the world, all the darkness that's happening. What's in the macro is in the micro. So if we're afraid to look at something in the outside in another person, we will tend to relate to that person or to the world as we wish it was, rather than as it actually was. And as I say, what's in the whole is in the one. So if we are not willing to see something in our greater communities or other people, we won't be able to see that within ourselves. We won't be willing to see it in ourselves. But in order to do that kind of great change, or to even impact change, we have to be willing to see those parts of ourselves as well. It's when we say truth, we can also bring it back to that wholeness. So when we gain that new perspective, when we gain when we have the big access to the bigger picture, that is the gift of clarity, because now we have this new perspective that we can bring in, and everything that comes with that. So we can start to relate to what is true, rather than ignoring and just pretending it's going to be okay, pushing things down or away. We also think that like what's in shadow or like what's in the dark is like bad. We just naturally think it's going to be evil or painful. And that's not always the case. We have a lot of our gifts that are dormant, and a lot of our spiritual gifts that are, and not just spiritual gifts, but talent, skills that we have suppressed or we're not willing to engage or see, because we have this fear of what seeing them, just even perceiving them, will actually do, what change it's going to bring. So we have all these really beautiful emotions as well that we're not willing to see or engage with. So this is not just about, as I said, good or bad. There's no such thing. When we have that, it's when as well, when you heal something within yourself, then when you look to another person who's doing that same thing that you used to do, or that is in pain the way you were in pain, and express it the same way you expressed it, all of a sudden you're able to have so much more compassion for them. You're able to see them as a deeply human, and have this empathy that you wouldn't have gained before if you didn't go through that experience yourself. So again, it's coming back to that wholeness, that you actually starting to accept yourself and other people as just full human beings, rather than just you're a light worker or you're a good person. It's how willing are we to say yes to stepping into the unknown. That's another way as well. Having our clarity, when we know who we are and accept and come into that wholeness and fullness of who we are, we're going to have greater trust in ourselves, and we're going to have greater ability to say yes to what feels good or what feels like it's part of our authentic path. And that will be our next step. into the unknown. And then we're going to be able to take the next step and the next step and the next step. And the road will rise to meet us. Also, what we tend to do, or the conscious mind tends to do is confuses safety with being comfortable. So it confuses the both, where like any breakthroughs I've ever had, any time I've been feeling my worst, there's always been a breakthrough coming. Being nothing good, really, nothing amazing or new ever came out of your comfort zone. So safety and being comfortable are not the same thing. So I would challenge you to see how much are you ready to say yes, or how much are you willing to say yes to seeing clearly, to having that clarity. Or just saying yes to truth, and just be really honest with yourself, because we're going to hopefully increase that percentage today. So if you feel in and ask those questions to yourself, don't let the mind tell you, don't let your intellectual mind be like, it's 90%, or whatever it is. It's most likely going to be lower, and that's okay. We are working with what is true, and we're doing it on the level of the body, the level of the subconscious mind. We're even going to put our guides and our vaster self in charge of this session today. So just feel in and ask, how much permission do I have to receive the gift of clarity? And maybe our willingness or permission is like 20%, 30%, maybe it's higher. What we're going to do is we're going to lean into that resistance, and we're going to also clear out some beliefs and concepts that don't belong to us, that are inauthentic to us, and that are preventing us from receiving big upgrades on the level of the crown center and on the level of the third eye, because that's where Glendalough is going to work with us the most. And it's going to support us in releasing those fears as well. And again, try not to let your intellectual mind or your conscious mind try to control what happens in this session. Again, just put your higher self or your inner wisdom in charge. And just trust. So I think we could get started. Maybe before we do, I'll open to questions if anybody has questions, and if not, that's okay. No? Cool. Okay, so for this session, you're welcome to be comfortable. For me, that's always sitting up with something behind my back, so I'm comfortable, but I'm not too relaxed that I'm going to fall asleep. If you fall asleep though, that's okay. It just this is going to go really deep. It typically goes beyond our conscious mind, and that's no problem. It's still working if you fall asleep. But if you want to be as alert as possible, I would sit up and be comfy. Okay. So I invite you to, you can roll your shoulders back. Just do whatever you need to do to get comfy, to bring yourself here and into this moment. I'm gonna invite you to close your eyes. And take a few deep breaths. So we're going to come together as a group, for everyone that's here live and everyone that's watching this as a recording. So we're going to create a beautiful group container. So we can imagine a beautiful bubble surrounding our entire group. And this bubble can be any color that you want. This is the Sacred Sessions container, so it's well established. We're going to refresh the grounding cord at this container and bring up a brand new grounding cord. We're going to welcome in a universal cord above our head and just allow it to pour in and attach to the top of our bubble, our group container. Just give yourself lots of space. We can even allow this group container to get even bigger. And big breakthroughs are going to happen today. So we're going to bring in lots of space for those, for miracles, for frequencies that are really excited to come back, to come back home. We're going to welcome in our guides and our vaster wisdom. We're going to set some intentions for this healing today. So we're going to set the intention that we're all welcome. This is a safe space to learn and explore. We get to do really big healing work in this space, and we also get to find a sweet spot. We're going to honor our bodies and honor our soul so that we receive the healing and breakthroughs that are perfect for us at this very moment in time. We're going to set the intention that our inner wisdom and our truth gets to be at the center and in charge. And anything that I shared, you can just let that information just sit outside your aura. You don't have to take it on. This is an experience that's going to be unique to you, and you deserve to have your own relationship and experience with Glendalough. This is a space where resistance is welcome, and it's going to come up, and we're going to love it, and we're going to gently release it into the earth. We're going to set the intention to heal and transmute any fears that are preventing us from relating to what is true, preventing us from receiving clarity, whatever that means for us specifically. For some, it will be releasing all beliefs, concepts, inauthentic energies, so that we can come back to our center and we can walk confidently on our most authentic path. For others, it's going to be opening those spiritual gifts that are going to support us in deepening our purpose. And again, walking confidently, taking that next step on our most authentic path. And for others, it'll be a mix of both and more. So we're going to set the intention to bring in that space that will help us to receive the miracles and breakthroughs, the prayers that we didn't even know we could ask for, we didn't even know were possible. And lastly, we're going to set the intention to collaborate with the healing energy of Glendalough to offer our love and our gratitude and our support so that we can become an ally to the sacred land and to its guardians. And just notice when we welcome the gift of clarity, just notice how much are you ready to say yes? And there's no shame in if it's low. We can even ask, how much am I ready to grow? How much am I ready to expand that yes? If I'm at 60%, can I go to 70, 80? We can say yes to wanting to say yes. And we're going to welcome in some earth energies, and specifically the energy, the vortex of Glendalough, and just allow it to wash over our group container. The earth energy is going to offer her insights and wisdom and just imbue all of our intentions with love. offering her wisdom and insights. We're going to welcome in universal energy into our group container and just allow this universal energy bless our intentions, support our intentions. We can also welcome in for this specific session, we can welcome in our angels, guardian angels, our angelic self. So now you're going to bring your attention to your personal aura. So your aura is the bubble, the magnetic field that surrounds your body. So just first get a feel for your personality aura. We're going to refresh our grounding cord. So let's bring up a brand new grounding cord. And this grounding cord can be any texture, any color that feels good. And just allow it just to pour up the earth, through the soil, and attach to the bottom of your feet. We can even allow this earth cord to get as wide as your aura, maybe 5 foot wide. And just give yourself full permission. Just allow your aura just to exhale into that earth cord. And if your aura wants to expand, strengthen, move, change shape, just allow your aura to do whatever feels good. We're going to welcome in our very own personal universal cord. So above our head, we can allow universal energy to pour into our aura. I like to see universal energy as gold light with lots of sparkles, but this can be any frequency, any color for you. We're going to place a magnet in front of us and a magnet behind us and just start releasing energies into those magnets. And we're going to recall our own authentic energies. So for this, we're going to choose a symbol that represents our authentic energy. And this can be any symbol, any shape. It could be a star, a flower, a seashell. And we're just going to allow this symbol, just allow your intuition choose the symbol and place it in front of you. We're going to welcome in our guides. And we're going to recall our authentic energies. Our guides are going to support us in recalling any fragments of our soul, of our identity, of our angelic self. And our guides are going to bless our energies, enhance them, update them, and beam them in from the bottom of our feet all the way up to the top of our head. Just filling in any spaces and gaps to where we released energy. So now as a group, we're in our beautiful container, our powerful container. And as a group, we're going to travel to Glendalough. And as we step onto the sacred land of Glendalough, just notice whatever you notice. Notice the landscape. Notice, are you near water? Notice if the mountains rise around you. There's lots of white quartz present in Glendalough, so we can see the white quartz all around us. Physically being able to see the presence of crystalline energies. We're also going to notice the land guardians that are here. And some may be spiritual guardians. We may be able to notice the animals that are present, the elements that are present, all working in harmony to take care of this land. We're also going to notice the guardians that are from an angelic realm, the beings from very high, vaster dimension. And you might notice angel beings, kind of ethereal beings. Notice the colors that you see. And just trust whatever you see, whatever is wanting to be present. And first, we're going to say hello to all of the beings that are here and protecting Glendalough and that live at Glendalough. So we're going to say hello. We're going to introduce ourselves. We're going to say what our name is, where we're from. We're going to say why we're here and even like what our own hopes and dreams are. And sometimes in my introductions, I like to say, why I'm here and my intention. And some of it can include like a commitment. So to say, we're here to receive the gift of clarity so that we can be better humans, so that we can learn to treat each other and all beings, including the earth, with respect and gratitude, and that we can actually open up to these vaster aspects of ourselves so that we can rebuild our sense of belonging, our sense of place, of community, that we can experience new levels of love and abundance that we didn't even know were possible, that we get to even realize potential we didn't know we had within us, and just be a vessel for that beauty. We can take accountability for all humans, not just our bloodline, and how humans have hurt the earth. And we're here to practice right relationship. We're here to learn. And just notice as we make these commitments and these offerings, just notice how we're being perceived. And we're going to make some energetic offerings to these beings. So to show our love, we're going to offer a whole sky full of flowers. We're going to offer these flowers to the beings, these angels. And we're going to offer a whole ocean of gratitude, thanking them for blessing this place and protecting this place and allowing us to experience the healing energies, to experience ourselves. I like to use flattery as a type of gift from a genuine place, and even thanking them for how beautiful Glendalough is, for like how much of a good job they did at keeping it so majestic and beautiful, natural, powerful. Notice what that opens when we start to make these offerings. And if there's any offerings, we can even ask these beings if they need anything from us, or if they would like a specific gift from us. How can I support you in what you're up to? And again, we're going to say yes, always say yes. Sometimes if I'm in person, if I was ever asked to leave a sacred site by the beings, I would respect that and say yes, and I would leave. We're always going to say and respect the ask. Sometimes places will ask you to pick up any trash or rubbish, to leave it better than when you found it. And some places might be really specific and ask for really specific gifts, and just trust that and just say yes. And now we're going to meet the vortex beneath the earth. So again, the vortex of Glendalough is incredibly vast. It's already beneath our feet. So to interact with this vastness, it's sometimes easier when we can make it into a symbol, just for convenience of relating to this such a vast, immense being. So as we feel Glendalough beneath our feet, the swirling energies, we're just going to allow those energies to rise above the land and to transform into a symbol that feels really good or makes sense for you. And we're going to say hello to the vortex. We're going to say hello to Glendalough. And we can even wait for a hello back. We're going to say who we are, what our name is, where we're from, what our hopes and dreams are. And we're going to make some offerings. So we're going to again offer a whole sky full of flowers, just to show our love and our gratitude to Glendalough. We're going to offer just loving energies, allowing loving energies to bless the vortex. We can make any offerings that would feel really good. We can also ask the vortex what it needs from us. How can we support it? And now we're going to ask permission to collaborate. We're going to ask if it can offer us teachings and blessings and support us in, realizing our goals and our dreams. We can ask it if it would like to collaborate. And again, allow yourself to receive your answer, and even on the level of the body. Trust your intuition. Glendalough is going to first support us in releasing kind of old beliefs, inauthentic energies and programs from our crown and our third eye. So in front of you, you can allow a bubble to appear. And in this bubble, we're going to ground the bubble so it has its very own grounding cord. And we're also going to offer it its very own universal cord. Just allow this bubble to get a little bit bigger. We're going to start releasing into this bubble everything we think we know about oneness. Everything we think we know about what it means to be whole, light and dark, yin, yang. Good, bad. And this is probably going to be other people's beliefs, societal, cultural, whatever we've learned from the media, our own family. Just be willing to release any beliefs, concepts, programs, ideas into that bubble. And we're just going to ask, how much of the energy in this bubble is my authentic energy? And just allow yourself to get like a percentage. And if it's over 10%, I would ask again, because most of the time it's under 10%, it's super low. And we're going to give permission for the energies that are not authentic to us. And again, they're probably societal energies, maybe ancestral, familial energies. We're going to allow any energy that's inauthentic, we're going to allow that to just pour back into the earth through that earth cord. Just releasing all of these inauthentic energies, allowing them to be released back into the earth, to be redistributed, to be composted. And what we're left with is a really small percentage of our own authentic energies. We're going to even allow our guides to decipher and sift through what is actually authentic, and give them permission to remove anything that we thought was authentic but actually isn't. We're going to ask and just open our Akashic records and just allow the Akash to pour in and just downloads into that bubble new concepts of what oneness means, of what it means to be a whole human being. Lightness, darkness. We're just going to allow our guides to bring in new frameworks, templates, new skills and abilities. everything that's authentic to you and your most authentic path. We're just going to allow those downloads to come in. And your guides are going to bless these energies. They're going to imbue them with so much wisdom and love and insight. And we're going to allow these energies to be reintegrated back into our aura, to wherever they're needed, wherever they're going to be reintegrated. So that could be our crown, maybe our third eye, different parts of our aura. And now we're going to place a bubble in front of us. And this bubble, again, has its very own grounding cord. And it has its very own universal cord. So it's resourced and connected. And we're going to place in this bubble everything that we think it means to be psychic or to have spiritual gifts, what it means to see, any pictures that are popping in, just allow those pictures, moments in time, we're just going to allow them to just flow into that bubble as well. Any programs, like maybe being spiritual means you're a good person. If you have gifts, it means that you're special or you're weird, you're different. Just any of those programs, especially fear-based, just allow them to flow into that bubble. And again, we're going to get a read. We're going to ask, how much the energy in this bubble is my authentic energy? And again, we can ask as well, is that accurate? And we notice if it changes. How much of the energy in the bubble is societal? How much of this energy is familial? How much of this energy is ancestral? And again, we're going to give our full permission to release any energies that are inauthentic to us, releasing any of those societal energies, releasing ancestral energies, familial energies, and anything else that's inauthentic. We're going to release those beliefs and programs back into the earth to be composted and redistributed. And we're left with our own authentic energies. And again, let's give our guides full permission to sift through these energies and to take out what's not authentic, whatever we missed. And now we're going to allow the Akash to bring in downloads, to channel in new templates and frameworks for what it means to have spiritual gifts or to be psychic, what it means to see clearly, how to use our gifts, how to move through the world as someone who sees more clearly. Our guides are going to bring in new skills, capabilities. They're going to support us in developing our capacity to relating to our gifts in ways that are so authentic and unique to us and our path. So we can just welcome them in. And our guides are going to imbue all of these energies with so much love and wisdom and insight. And then we're going to allow these energies to be reintegrated back into our aura, to wherever feels good. Maybe into our crown, third eye, our throat, any part of the body or the aura that's ready to embrace and integrate these energies. We're going to place a sacred fire in front of us and just start releasing any energies that are ready to be released into that fire. We're going to refresh our grounding cord and bring up a brand new grounding cord. We're going to recall our authentic energies again. Recalling our authentic energies from all dimensions of space and time, and our guides are going to bless our energies, enhance them and update them to who we are now, and beam them in from the bottom of our feet all the way up to the top of our head. And we're going to again feel in. I like to place a hand on my chest and my belly, and I'm going to feel in and ask, how much permission do I have to receive clarity, the gift of clarity? Notice if it has increased just by making all this beautiful space, by clearing out everything that's inauthentic. Notice if that's giving you more permission to receive the gift of clarity, to relate into what is true. And then as we're feeling into that percentage and our permission, we can watch as the vortex moves from that beautiful symbol back beneath the earth, beneath our feet, and it begins to move in a clockwise motion. Notice what color the vortex is. Is it a bright white? Does it have silver or gold or pink or purple? Notice the way it moves in a clockwise motion beneath your feet. It begins to rise up from the earth so you can actually see the energies of the vortex moving directly under your feet, attaching to your feet, moving up into the feet. And as this vortex begins to move, it asks, are you ready to receive the gift of clarity? Notice how much you can say yes. And if there's anything that's still holding you back, tell Glendalough what that is. I want to say yes, but I'm afraid of this. And Glendalough will ask, are you ready to release that fear now? And for that, we can give a full-bodied yes. So just allow Glendalough's swirling vortex to continue to move beneath your feet, allowing this to be extremely expansive and vast energy. Notice how big it is. And as it's moving beneath your feet, it's beginning to clear out anything in your aura, vibrating out anything in your body. The fear, the ego, the programs, unprocessed emotions, any of that stagnant energy that you said yes to releasing. Just watch as that vibrates out and into the vortex to be dissolved, to be completed. You can even watch as the vortex's energy moves up into your aura, moving up your legs, your solar plexus, your heart. And it's just encompassing your entire aura, dissolving energies that are fear-based, energies that were in shadow that are not needed, or energies that we just weren't willing to see. Any pictures that are popping into your mind, any moments from the past, we're just going to offer them to Glendalough as well, to be healed, to be transmuted, completed. We can watch as Glendalough's vortex, the energy moves up to our throat, our third eye, our crown, and even beyond our crown. And all we got to do is just hold that yes to releasing energies that are preventing us from receiving the gift of clarity. We can even watch as Glendalough's swirling vortex begins to move down the body again, back beneath our feet, continuing to support us. It's not going anywhere. It's continuing to attune our energy to the gift of clarity. And as that continues to happen in the background, an angel begins to move towards you. And just notice what this angel looks like. Colors do you see? What kind of frequency are they? If they had a feeling tone, what would that feeling tone be? Notice the parts of your body that lights up when you see this angel. This angel is an aspect of you. This is who you are, vibrating on the angelic realm. And we're going to say hello. We're going to bless this angel, bless this aspect of ourselves. And this angel is going to bless us right back. And she moves in and she's going to kiss you on the forehead. And as she kisses you on the forehead, this is a deep blessing for your third eye, for your crown. This is the direct response to your yes. However much is ready to be activated for you and your authenticity and your authentic path, trust is going to be activated for you. And some of you might want to kind of embrace your angel self, give them a hug, thank them. And we can allow them to move and sit somewhere and be present for this. And we just received a big blessing and upgrade for our third eye. And now we're going to receive a beautiful healing and blessing for our crown center. So we're just going to allow our crown to get as big as it wants to get. Our seventh energy center, we're going to allow it to get as expansive as it truly is, however much feels good for you. And any energy that's inauthentic, that's ready to be released, we're going to allow it to vibrate out and into the vortex beneath us. The vortex is like a magnet, just calling in anything inauthentic. We're going to feed the vortex. We're going to use some of the elements to wash over our crown center. We're going to begin with that earth energy and allow the earth to wash over, just moving through any energy that might be dense, stuck, or blocked. We're going to wash over our seventh energy center with nourishing and soothing water. We're going to specifically call on the lakes of Glendalough, and use that water, which is just infused with angelic energy, crystalline energy, majesty. It's going to nourish and soothe our crown center, wash away any impurities. We're going to welcome in the element of fire and allow the fire to wash over our crown. And again, we're going to feed the fire with any karmic energies that are ready to be completed. We're going to feed the fire with any cords of enmeshment that are ready to be completed. And we're also going to ask that the fire transmute and complete any contracts, vows, and agreements that are ready to be completed. We can even put our guides in charge of this process, because for many of us, we're ready to complete a lot of contracts and vows. We're going to welcome in the element of wind and allow the wind to wash over our crown center. And this can be the winds of new, the winds of change, just offering that final clearing and healing. We're also going to bring in some of those crystalline energies. We can allow the crystalline energies to meld into this really beautiful liquid, silver liquid, and just allow it like honey to wash over our crown. We can use these crystals, these white quartz, to clear energies in our crown center. And then lastly, we're going to bring in a whole rainbow of frequencies and just allow it to pour into our crown center, infusing our energy of our seventh center. We're going to welcome up earth energy, the energy of the vortex. We're going to give our crown center full permission to ask for whatever it needs and whatever it wants from the earth and from the universe. Full permission to completely heal and evolve. And now we're going to check back in and ask, and just check and see how our permissions might have increased to receive the gift of clarity. What breakthroughs are we ready to say yes to? Many of us are on the cusp of that, like a new beginning, greater levels of authenticity, permission for choice, deepening our purpose. And just feel the excitement of all the growth that's here and that's ready. And again, with that yes, we're going to allow Glendalough's beautiful vortex to bless our crown center. We can watch it as it moves around in a clockwise motion, healing, updating and evolving, activating our crown. You might even see above your crown evolving into a crystal or a gem. And now we're going to allow the vortex to wash over our aura, our entire aura. And as it washes over us, old structures, old ways of being are going to be released and dissolved and transmuted instantaneously. And this is happening on a personal level. This is happening on a soul level, which means that this is going to impact our past lives. We're going to welcome Glendalough to wash over our soul's aura. We're going to allow Glendalough to wash over our aura on the level of our essence. And then lastly, on our level of our angelic self. Just allow yourself to embody your aura and your angelic aura. Notice how much bigger and vaster it is than your personal aura. Notice what colors come in. Notice how vast it feels. What's the feeling tone? And we're just going to allow Glendalough to ground our angelic aura and restructure our aura. There's going to be some gifts, templates, maybe whatever openings are ready to open here will happen. And we're going to allow that to filter out and back into our different auras, however much we're ready for. And again, we don't need to get it fully. We don't need to see, to know that, and trust that whatever's happening is for our highest good. We're going to allow Glendalough to again move beneath our feet. And we're going to allow it to get deeper back into the earth. We're going to refresh our grounding cord and bring up a brand new grounding cord. And notice what this grounding cord looks like. Notice if parts of Glendalough are part of your grounding cord. We're going to bring in lots of sparkles above our head, that universal energy, and just allow it to pour in and over all the different levels, all the different layers of our aura, our channels, meridians, energy centers. Let's give our aura full permission to heal and evolve. And we did a lot of work, so we're going to allow it all to integrate gently. We're going to imagine that we did this work 1 month ago. We're going to reset our self-concept and identity. We're going to allow this work to reset our relationships and how we move through relationships. We're going to allow this work to reset our belief structures and our reality. We're going to send this beautiful healing energy back in time to younger versions of ourselves, for times when we needed healing and clarity, to be able to see ourselves as we are. To be able to see the light when it was very dark. We're going to allow this healing energy to heal and evolve our current reality. And we can even send this energy forward in time so that we get to be aligned and with our most probable, auspicious timeline, our most authentic path. This is the level up. We're going to recall our authentic energies through all dimensions of space and time. Our guides are going to support us in recalling our authentic energies, soul fragments, identity fragments back into that symbol. And your guides are going to bless and update your energies to who you are now and beam them in from the bottom of your feet all the way up to the top of your head. Just taking our time to fill in spaces and gaps. We're going to thank Glendalough, first the vortex specifically. We're going to say thank you for this healing, for the gift of clarity, for supporting us and saying yes, for being an ally. We're going to bless the vortex, offer loving energies, healing energies. And we can offer a whole sky full of flowers as well. We're going to say bye for now. We're going to say goodbye to the guardians that are here. And again, we're going to thank them for having us. We can wash over the land with a whole ocean of gratitude. Offer blessings. Just watch as universal energy, the sparkles just pour in and over the land and all the beings, blessing everyone. And we're going to leave as a group. We're going to make sure that we collect all of our energy, leaving nothing behind. So we're going to welcome the element of wind to come and wash over the land from the east, picking up any of our energetic debris, anything that's inauthentic to the land, and just allowing it to move out to the west to be recycled by the universe. So we're going to say goodbye for now. We're going to come back into our group container. We're going to thank the space, thank each other, the earth, the universe, and thank our guides. Bless our guides. And allow your guides to bless you back. We're going to send each other's energy back, any energy that might be in other people's spaces. We're first going to send back each other's energy, and then we're going to recall our energy from other people's spaces. Our guides are going to update our energies and enhance them and beam them in. And then whenever you're ready, you can take your time to come back to the chat, to open your eyes. For anyone that wants to journal what just happened, if you had kind of cool insights, I totally encourage you to do that. If anyone has any questions, you're welcome to ask me questions or to reach out by email. And if you feel tired and fancy a nap, trust that, go for a nap. But I really appreciate your time, and thank you so much for being here and participating and contributing to this work. Thank you.